let's hopefully this will be a good 2000 and whatever it's going to be, 26 I guess. So we'll go through some of the projects that we're working on and going through and doing. This is Tommy's engine for his blue truck. We put dish pistons in it and it's going together. We'll shortly show you the set of heads that we're just going through of trick flows that was on it. We're just checking them out. That there is the 326 Pontiac. It is line honed, it is measured, all sitting there ready to start. And I will show you the crankshaft to you here in a minute, and also the rods. This is just an LT 350 or whatever that we're putting together for a guy. Finally got some parts for it going together. Alright, here's the 326 crank we got turned. All specced out on my bearing sizes and so forth. We did take the rods and check them for the oil clearances. Truly, they had been reconned with new bolts and stuff in them, but when we put the bearings in them and torqued them up, they were way out of them. They were from 2 to 5 to 3.5. So we're going to just resize them. Actually, we retorqued them up. We put them on the scale. They were some here and some there. I'm just going to cut them. I hate this job, but I'm going to cut them and just go back and resize them. And the sad part is you get the price of a new rod in this. In most cases, stock rods, so whatever. But what is going to be interesting is hopefully in the next segment of this video, we'll have that crank on the balancer and we'll see if we can find his balance problem. So that'll be interesting to see if we can find what's shaking. It was on his motor. We got to change the valve springs out. They were for a solid roller. We're going to a hydraulic roller, one of Iski's. And we're just going through and checking everything. Bill's heads is over there. We'll look at those next. These are Bill's heads. It was on his original engine that was in the Malibu. We are cleaning them up and doing a valve job and getting them ready to go on his motor that was in my Nova that I think he's putting in El Camino. He had a 911 here last month or two wanting to get it. It had 3 bent valves in it, slightly tinged. So we had to replace 3 valves, freshened up the valve job in it. I don't know that I've ever remember us having these apart to do this type of work. We've had them off and on and milled them many times. And you saw in the previous video they were warped severely. Pretty typical for Bill and his situation. And like I say, I always like milling every aluminum head. It may take a couple thousandths to clean it up, but this one here was several. So we're going to get these things put together. We got all the parts, I think, for them.
Back working on some of the stuff for the Pontiac, what was it, 326 that he come in with. Had some vibration at 3,000 RPM that didn't really feel right to him. So we're kind of just going through it, refreshing it while it's in here, and kind of taking a look to see what we can find. So we got it all tore apart. Bob just got done grinding the crank. Now we're starting to get towards balancing it. So we're going to kind of weigh the rods and see where they're all at. We kind of weighed 2 yesterday, and they were a little bit off from each other. So I'm going to go through all the rods here, weigh all of them, see what they're, see what the small end is, see what the big end is. Kind of get them closer to each other. They weren't significantly apart, but if we have one that sticks out, that could be something that would allude to maybe a vibration in the rotating assembly. So I'm going to go through, measure all these, and we're going to see where we're at with those. So show you guys what I'm doing to get these weights. Weigh the rod hole. So we got 895.7 right there. Weigh it at a different angle. Kind of got the same thing again, scoot a little bit farther onto the pad. There we go. So measured it 2 ways, made sure we got the same thing each time. And then we'll go take this pad off, put our rod end fixture on here. Make sure we zero this out. Hook up our small end onto this tower right here. Come on. There we go. Set it up here. Make sure we're pretty close to level. Go a little bit farther up. Make that adjustment here. Alright, so now we're set up pretty level. You know, regardless of what this says, you kind of have to eyeball it because not all the machine edges on, you know, these rods from factory are straight or level or, you know, like that. You get into like the paradox of what is level, you know, because the concrete ain't, you know, sometimes the concrete ain't level, the table ain't level, you know, who is the earth level? I don't know. You'll get into that whole paradox, but pretty eyeballed on here. We're at about 603.9 on the big end. And we'll calculate our small end. And I've got most of them done right there. I got one more to do after this. And then we'll kind of compare them all and then figure out where we want to go. Obviously, we're going to want to go down to our lightest rod. So that way, you know, we're taking material off of other rods. You can't really add material back onto the rods. Alright, so we are all weighed up. Our lowest rod was 894.6 and our heaviest rod was 908. So about a 6.2 gram difference. So we're going to try and, well, I am going to get all these rods down to about 894, and we will take from these pads either on the small end or on the big end to get them all, you know, depending on, you know, where they're heavy at. I got all the rods weighed up, got them all the same weight, went in, put the bearings in, you know, bore gauged them, figure out our oil clearances. We are going to have to resize some of these rods. There's no big deal. Just something, you know, what else we got to do. But now I have all of the pistons tore down, all the rings out. We're to go through, weigh all the pistons real quick. Make sure they're all the same weight. If not, we will get them there.
The 326 Pontiac, customer come in with where he felt was a out of balance problem. And so it was a primary reason for sorting this out. And then we found main bearings, rod bearings that was going bad, some size problems. So we are now going to check this balance. I got it ground, and we just now spun it with the bob weights that we put into it. It's slightly off, 36 grams in the rear, 20 grams in the front, but truly probably not enough for him to feel. We've seen this multiple times be off this far, and maybe not that much of a out of balance problem. Maybe it's a scenario where it does, but this is also spun without any of our weights on it, or as far as flex plate and front balancer. So we're going to put the front balancer on and respin it and see if it changes any. Maybe we got a problem in these. There's no balance or weights on this, so it should be neutral. Same thing, should be neutral, but let's put this combination together and see what it changes anything or not.
We're even farther. Even farther in the rear with a neutrally balanced one on. I'm gonna try something. even farther.
Friday, kind of the conclusion, I guess, of this balance job of this 326. Like I said before it came in, he felt there was a big shake in the car. We put it on here. Yes, it was out some. I've seen a lot worse. But we balanced the rods, we balanced the pistons, put the bob weights in, and like I said, it was out some. He had sent 2 flex plates, and he had tried both flex plates. What was interesting on the flex plate, it actually from one to the other, and I don't know the particulars of the flex plates, but it shifted or flip-flopped the weights on like where we would drill or add weight on this. And so we used the one that made it easier for us just to drill a little bit of weight out of the counterweight and bring it back to within specifications. So it'll be curious as we move forward. We put the engine together, we'll put it on a dyno, and we'll see how it shakes or doesn't shake, I guess. So just moving through step procedure on everything.